We'll call the meeting to order and have a roll call by the Commission Secretary.
Mr. Fiddler.
Here.
Mr. Overland.
Here.
Mr. Love.
Here.
Mr. Burridge.
Here.
Mr. Huckabee.
Here.
Mr. Alexander.
Here.
Mr. Burgess.
Here.
Mr. Peterson.
Here.
Thank you. The Chair declares a quorum present to conduct business and would like to recognize Mr. Ridley. Where are you at? Oh, there he is, hiding back there. Good to see you. Bobby Stem's here. John Cox is here. And we want to acknowledge also Bailey, I can't pronounce that correctly. Lakey, okay. Bailey Lakey from the Governor Stitt's office. Glad to have you here. And we also would introduce our new Secretary of Transportation attending his first meeting today. You bet. With the consent of the board, I'd like to have a moment of silence in recognition of Bill Burgess, a long time public servant to this state. You know, if we all gave what the Burgess family has given in dedication and time to making our communities and our state and nation better, we would all be better off. With the Commission's consent, hearing no objection, we'll have a moment of silence. Thank you. The first thing on our agenda is we're going to turn it over to Director Patterson to recognize the ODOT PO scholarship recipients.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Secretary. Feels good to say that. Members of the Commission. For the past 38 years, Poe and Associates and the Department of Transportation have jointly worked to honor scholars at both the University of Oklahoma and Oklahoma State University. Last year was, I think, the first year we probably had our scholarship winners in to be recognized by the Commission and let you see what the future of civil engineering looks like, particularly in transportation. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to introduce Jim Benson from Poe and Associates, who will come up and recognize our 4 scholarship winners. I'm so proud of these young people for what they've done so far, just in their academic arena, but what they're going to do in the future once they get out into the world and begin to make a difference. Mr. Chairman.
Good morning, Mr. Secretary, Mr. Chairman, members of the Commission. I'm proud to introduce our 4 scholarship winners from this year. As Director Patterson has said, we partnered with the ODOT director for the past 38 years in awarding these scholarships. I know the Secretary has been involved in the past. And I'd also like to introduce Jim Hemphill from our Tulsa office. Jim takes care of the orange part of this procedure, and I take care of the crimson part. So it's, as you can see, it's bipartisan. Our 2 OSU winners, both seniors, Austin Craddy from Fort Worth and Madeline Beekler from Owasso. Madeline's a repeat awardee from last year. And our 2 OU awardees, Jim Devers, they're both seniors also. Jim's from Tulsa, and Kevin Lapicier from Swaziland. They're both seniors. I want to say, over the years, we've looked at the list of our past awardees. We've got a lot of prominent people in the industry, including a lot of people that are currently employed by ODOT or have actually retired from ODOT. The most notable of whom is sitting at the table right here, Ms. Dawn Sullivan. Back in the day, she was an ODOT PO scholarship awardee. As Mike said, if this is the future of civil engineering, I think the future is very bright. We're real proud of these kids. They all have outstanding records, high grade points. They're involved in a lot of activities. They all work hard to provide part of their education. We're very proud of them, and we're very, very happy to award these scholarships. So thank you.
I thought you'd correct yourself and say in the very short past, but you didn't, so you're going to pay for it. Well, there you go. We're grateful that y'all attended today, and congratulations on your accomplishments. The staff here at ODOT and at PO wouldn't have selected you guys if it wasn't for the excellence that you represent. Thank you again. Item 12 is the approval of the minutes of the commission meeting of January the 7th, 2019. Do we have a motion?
Motion approved.
Have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
We need a second.
Second.
Have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, please vote. Motion passes. Item 13 is the consent docket. It's item 13, 14, and 15. If there's a commissioner that would like to pull one of these items out and discuss it separately, we will by acclamation. Otherwise, we'll hear a motion.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, please vote. Motion passes. Item 16, Mr. Blackwell will present disclosure of acquisition of right-of-way from an ODOT employee.
Good morning, Mr. Secretary, Mr. Chairman, members of the Commission. Agenda item number 16 is disclosure of acquisition of right-of-way from an Oklahoma Department of Transportation employee. State job number 26497, print 05. Project number is SSP-019N, print 119RW. It's in Ellis County. Parcel number 1, owned by Greg Marston, an ODOT employee. In the course of normal acquisition of right-of-way for the above-referenced highway improvement project on State Highway 15, from 5.8 miles east of the US 283 junction, extending east approximately 2.7 miles, it has become necessary to acquire the above parcel from the above-named owner, Mr. Greg Marston, an Oklahoma Department of Transportation employee since September of 2009, is currently employed as a superintendent for Division 6 in Ellis County. In order to comply with the existing policies and procedures related to the acquisition of right-of-way from the department employees, it is first necessary to secure the written approvals of this acquisition from the director and from the chairman of the Transportation Commission, and finally, to disclose Mr. Greg Marston's ownership interest in the public records of the Transportation Commission. The owner of the subject parcel has been contacted by an agent from our right-of-way division regarding the purchase of the necessary right-of-way, which will be required for the eventual construction of this project. They have subsequently agreed to accept our written fair market value offer of $1,200. The acquisition area consists of 0.19 acres of permanent right-of-way, of which Mr. Marston has been the sole owner since July of 2016. This 0.19 acres are part of a 157-acre tract utilized as a home site and is occupied by Mr. Greg Marston. Location of this parcel is part of the northeast quarter of Section 17, Township 21 North, Range 24 West in Ellis County, Oklahoma. The fair market value for all interest in this parcel, as established by our chief appraiser, is $1,200, for which amount the owner has recently signed all documents of conveyance, subject to approvals. Of the $1,200 FMV offer, $950 is for the permanent right-of-way, $250 is for 2 steel H-braces. Executive Director Mike Patterson and Chairman David Burridge have now all approved in writing this conveyance And immediately after this public disclosure, we shall proceed to consummate these negotiations as outlined above.
You recommend approval?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you've heard the item, and we have a recommendation of approval on item 16, and it's for information only, no action is required. You've been properly notified. Do you have any questions? No one has any questions? Thank you for presenting that item. Mr. Blackwell, Mr. Tiegler's going to present the programming items, number 17, and then we'll vote on it, and he'll move to 18, which are the engineering contracts, and I believe that's all you have. And then the supplements.
Yep. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Secretary, members of the commission. Item 17, I have one programming item this month. It's in Pontotoc County in District 3. This is a project to repair vehicle impact damage to northbound State Highway 1 over State Highway 3, located 1 mile southwest of Ada in Pontotoc County. The cost to repair this project, the project is $170,000, and the party responsible for the damage is known. Approval is recommended. Take any questions.
You have a recommendation for approval for item 17. What's your pleasure?
Motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve.
Second.
Have a second. Any discussion? We have a question. Commissioner Love, you're recognized.
Tim and Steve Jacoby, I assume we spend a fair amount of time kind of talking to, benchmarking with other states. This just happens too often, and maybe we're doing all we can do. Don't know that, but I would encourage you to do that.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner. Yeah, we had some discussion this morning. We'll continue that discussion and see if we can come up with anything else to help slow these down. So, thank you.
It does seem like it's increasing in frequency.
It does. It really does.
Thank you, Commissioner Love. Any other questions, comments? Please vote. Motion passes. Move to item 18, the engineering contracts.
Thank you. I have 9 contracts this month. 3 are statewide, 6 are project-specific. Part A is our statewide off-system truss and fracture critical bridge inspections. This is with Burgess and Nyepel, H.W. Lochner, and Infrastructure Engineers for a total not to exceed $4,457,012. Part B is also statewide. All districts are on-system truss and fracture critical bridge inspections. This is with Burgess and Nyepel. This is for $1,994,656. Part C is our statewide, all districts as well. This is our on-demand engineering services for ADA improvements. We selected 6 firms to provide these improvements. This is with Atkins North America, Cabinets Engineering, EST, Kimley Horn and Associates, MacArthur Associated Consultants, and Smith Roberts Baldischweiler. The total not to exceed amount for these 6 contracts is $1,500,000. Part D, this is Pittsburgh County, Commission District 2. The department has selected Benham Design to provide preliminary engineering for US 270 over the railroads in McAllister. This is with, again, Benham Design for a total not to exceed amount of $966,450. We have 3 projects in the 8-year construction work plan with a scheduled late of 2023. Part E in Garvin County, this is Commission District 3. The department has selected Olson Associates to prepare construction plans for US 177. This is a total not to exceed amount of $2,018,865. The project is in the 8-year construction work plan for a scheduled let date of 2026. Part F, Oklahoma County, Commission District 4. We've selected MacArthur Associated Consultants to prepare construction plans for State Highway 152. Total not to exceed amount is $750,291. Project is in the 8-year construction work plan for a scheduled let date of 2021. Part G, Oklahoma County as well. This is Commission District 4. The department has selected Poe and Associates for the other set of construction plans for State Highway 152. Total not to exceed amount of $601,671. This project is as well in the 8-year construction work plan for 2025. Part H is Grady County, Commission District 7. We've selected professional engineering consultants to prepare construction plans for US 81. Total not to exceed amount is $1,347,878. The project is right-of-way and utilities. It's in the construction program in 2023, and we're hopeful to get the construction plan in the program this year. And finally, Part I, Delaware County, Commission District 8. We have selected Craig and Keith Line to provide engineering and construction plans for State Highway 116. Total not to exceed amount for this contract is $1,075,900. This project is in the 8-year construction work plan in 2026. Approval is recommended, and I'll try to answer any questions if you have any.
You've heard the recommended approval.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion.
Second.
Have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, please vote. Motion passes. You can move to item number 19, the supplements.
Thank you. I have 2 supplements this month. Part A is our statewide, all districts, our on-demand state bridge rehabilitation contract. We are supplementing 5 of the 6 firms. This is with Garver, HNTB Corporation, Infrastructure Engineers, Poe and Associates, and White Engineering Associates for $1,250,000. And Part B is our McLean, Cleveland County District 3 project. We have selected in the past Garver to do the supplement for additional engineering to complete a feasibility study that goes through Lexington, Oklahoma. This total not to exceed amount is $277,835. Approval is recommended. I'll try to answer any questions if you have any.
Item 19, A and B has been presented and recommended. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve.
Second.
Have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, please vote. Motion passes. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Tiegler, excuse me?
My voting machine's not registered correctly.
Okay, we have a technical problem on the, don't think it affects any of the votes since they've all been, enough folks have voted for it. But Commissioner Alexander you'll have to call his vote unless you guys can get his machine fixed.
Yes, you got it. Okay.
Please record he voted yes on item 19. Item 20, Mr. Leonard will present, and as he's walking up here, you can consider if you have any questions on the change orders with a cumulative total 75,000 and under. If you have no questions on the under, we'll move to the over and let him present those. Does anybody have a question on change orders under 75,000? Mr. Leonard, you can move to item 21.
Good morning, Mr. Secretary, Mr. Chairman, members of the Commission. I'd like to present item 21, parts A through HH. These are change orders on projects that have a cumulative total of change orders in excess of $75,000. They're presented for your approval, and I'd be glad to answer any questions.
We had spirited debate on these in the subcommittee. Are there anyone want to propose a motion for the change orders over 75,000?
Motion to approve item 21.
We have a motion to approve.
Second.
And we have a second. Any discussion? Nobody vote yet? See if yours will work. Ah, we got it. Let's all vote. Passes. Well, you know what they say about operator error sometimes. I've never done that. Item 22 is a lettings. Ms. Helms is going to come up here and get us up to speed.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Secretary, and the members of the Commission. Agenda item 22 is for the bid openings. This item consists of the final April 2019 $245 million. The tentative May 2019, $162 million. And bid opening, tentative June 2019 of $66 million. And the department requests and recommends approval of this item.
You have your final April and tentative May and June before you and a recommendation for approval. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? Might point out that in the, I believe it's the final April, we have our grant project in that letting.
Bryan County, $132 million.
$132 million.
$62 million is a fast lane grant, and $44 million is additional federal funds, and $26 million of state funds.
Appreciate the extraordinary effort that the department's gone through and participated in to get that project to the finish line. And would like to thank the commissioners for their work in doing so. Please vote. Motion carries. Item 23 are the awards. Mr. Dels. We hammered on him this morning also.
It was rough, but we made it. Good morning, Commissioners, Mr. Secretary, Chairman. Item 23 are the department's recommendations for award from the January 17th bid openings. It is recommended that the following items from that bid opening, both the AM and the PM bid openings referred to by caller, be awarded. That's callers 100, 103, 118, 142, 145, 148, 154, 157, 181, 182, 184, 220, 226, 229, 238, 241, 247, 256, 259, 265, 271, 274, 277, 280, 289, 295, 301, 304, 313, 316, 328, 331 with add alternate 2 only, 334, 340, 343, 346, and 355. It is recommended the following items from the January 17th AM and PM bid openings referred to by caller be rejected. It's callers 187, and then callers 250 and 253 in lieu of the Tide project. This concludes our recommendations for award, and your approval is requested.
You've heard the award recommendation by Mr. Dels.
Motion to approve item 23.
We have a motion to approve.
Second.
And we have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, please vote. Oh, we better let Mr. Alexander. He got it.
Thank you, Commissioners.
We awarded your awards. Item 24 is the director's report, and we'll recognize Director Patterson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, Mr. Secretary. Somewhere behind me is a young man, and I use that term young, who's attending his last commission meeting as an ODOT employee. Craig Moody, if you would stand up, please. I would like for you to thank you. Craig has been here for 31 years. He's retiring at the end of February. The last few years, he's been in charge of our rail programs division, provided that leadership. And I want to take you back to what that looked like. That looked like selling a railroad, a major railroad between here and Tulsa, shepherding, leading the effort to provide additional rail crossing safety programs to the state of Oklahoma, continuation, fathering, mothering the Heartland Flyer, make sure it operates on a daily basis, dealing with Amtrak and the BNSF. So Craig, after 31 years, I just want to offer my deep appreciation. I'm not going to call you Hollywood. Oh, wait, I did. I do want to offer my deep appreciation in front of the commission for what you've done for the Department of Transportation, the state of Oklahoma. Thank you. I I really think Craig came to work when he was 18. Is that right, Craig? Yeah. So now we know how old he is. Okay, we got that out of the way. Commissioners, Shelley was up here talking about the upcoming lettings. You know, last month we talked about last month we talked about the continuing resolution, but at the time we were in the middle of a government shutdown. At the end of this week, on Friday, the current continuing resolution expires. Certainly we hope beyond all hope, I'm sure, that we would have a fully funded for the balance of the federal fiscal year budget. I don't think that's going to happen. Our next best effort would be to get another month, two, continuing resolution. Don't want to do the other thing. I'm not even going to say the other thing. As we look at continuing resolutions, it's become the new norm. But let me talk about continuing resolutions in this case that we're dealing with. The Highway Trust Fund has lots of cash. It doesn't always have lots of cash, but it has lots of cash in it. So as we continue to do our daily work and we send a bill to the Federal Highway Administration, they have the cash to reimburse us. What we do not have is the budget authority from Congress, the authorization to use any more of the cash. And so that's why we continue to come up here, and Shelley and her team are juggling projects, trying to get around the barn swallows, right? So we got environmental issues we're dealing with. We have getting crops to market issues that we're dealing with. We got school district things we're dealing with. So we're all trying to time all this, and we're pretty good at timing this until we don't have any money to time it with. So there's part of our dilemma right now. I'm just hoping that next Friday we get a good continuing resolution. I don't think we're going to get the budget. I just hope we get a good one, not a less than a month thing. 6 months would be nice. Wait, that would be the end of the fiscal year. No, we would like to have something we could really work with and get some of these projects led. Any questions on that? You recall a few months ago we unveiled our ODOT vehicles, and we were using them in our I-235 project. Allen Contracting, Jeff Allen's in the room as well, but Jeff helped us get those first ODOT vehicles with a cooperation of the Federal Highway Administration. And I know Bashart Siddiqui sitting in the audience as well. So we got our first 2 ODOT vehicles, and they stayed in the confines of the I-235 project that we just opened a few months ago. Well, on the 14th of January, we set them free, in essence. They're outside the confines of that one particular project. We now have 8 operators and a full-time dispatcher, and our 8 operators are the guys that you really want to be the operators. If I could have you guys, there's 3 of them in the room, if I could have you guys stand up. See, these are firemen, retired firemen. You know, when they stand up, when they get out of the truck, they bring comfort to who's ever stranded. They've got the little gleam in their teeth when they smile. You know what I mean? If they pull back their shirt, they've got an S on their chest. That's the kind of guys that we wanted for our ODOT team, and that's the kind of guys we get. We currently operate from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. We've had more than 200 contacts, incidents, events, where we have pulled over and helped somebody out. And the nice thing about that, and we've talked about this, but it's so important, you know, because if somebody's stranded on the side of the road, everybody wants to look at them to see if it's your relative or your friend or just see who it is. Well, then that causes other problems on the main line. We want to get that cleared up, get people out. As I said, we have 2 vehicles here in Oklahoma City. We're working on acquiring 2 more vehicles for the Tulsa area. And then we're just going to expand this on out. Because it is something that we think we could really benefit the traveling public, not only for safety, but for convenience. On top of that, we have been involved for a number of years with Traffic Incident Management, TIMS. We have become one of the preeminent national leaders in our TIMS. This is where we're working with other first responders, ambulances, law enforcement, fire, and we're setting up a protocol that we can safely go in and secure an area, get it cleaned up, and get it moved as quickly as possible. ODOT, as I said, has become a leader in the nation in this effort, all for the same reasons that the GODOT. It's for the convenience of the traveling public. Moreover, it's for the safety of the traveling public. Mr. Chairman, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Quick question. Who funds GODOT?
The Department of Transportation does. Initially, we used some of our federal funds to purchase the first 2 vehicles, but here on out, it's going to be funded with state funds.
Thank you.
We certainly want to thank the gentlemen that are here representing the Cape Crusaders. Thank you guys for being here, and thank you for what you do and what you've done in the past. We know you guys have all been in this business a while, helping people.
Mr. Chairman, I know the next agenda item talks about my replacement. It is a decision that I worked on for a number of months, and as the commission knows, I privately told you at the last commission meeting of my plans, and then I told the ODOT team shortly after that. So I want to thank you if you're able to find a director at this executive meeting or perhaps the next one. I look forward to working with the next director to get some transition going so that as I walk out the door, the new person knows what's going on. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Director Patterson. Well, we won't go into your long list of accomplishments and how long you've been here, but it's been a long time, and you had long hair to match the long time. I'll never forget, I came to my first meeting, and I thought, who's that hippie? I just had to say that. You know, all of us guys that don't have hair, that's what it's all about. But there's been so many things that you've been a part of and led and done an excellent job in leading this department. You know, you just don't have time in this meeting to list them. I know you're going to get ribbed about it and roasted about it a lot going forward. But we cannot express our appreciation enough for your service. Very few people devote their lives and handle it in the manner that you have in your public service, Director Patterson. You're an example to others, and many have watched how you've handled yourself and have modeled themselves after your public service. You know, ODOT has a history of people staying and working here and doing great things, and you're going to fall right in line with that group. And if I gave everybody a chance in this room to talk, they'd have something to say. You ought to stick that in your pipe, and you can smoke that a long, long, long time. But we know that you'll go on to bigger and better and greater things. and the department has a history of preparing people for that. And, you know, it's one thing as a state agency, as I've watched you guys, that I've been very proud to see many of you go to the private industry and continue to contribute to the success, especially that our state has. So thank you very much. And I would give any other commissioner time to make a comment if they want it. You're not obligated to, as you've done so much.
Could I say something just real quick?
You're
Mr. Chairman?
recognized.
Thank you. When I showed up 16 years ago, I remember what the department was like and how many bridges were functionally obsolete and structurally deficient. And I remember Gary Ridley and you working so hard with the governor and the legislature, and to remember where we were then. I know Danny was appointed about the same time I was, and to see it now is just unbelievable. You guys have every right to be so proud of yourselves. I mean, we come up here for a couple of days a month and have meetings in our own district, but you guys are where the rubber meets the road, and I gotta say, we're just so proud of you. And we're so proud of Director Ridley for what you guys have done over the last 2 decades. I mean, Oklahoma's in a much better place than we were 2 decades ago, and for that, we thank you.
Yeah, I was going to briefly say, my company, we operate in 42 states, and one of the things that I personally do is develop the locations, and a big part of that, probably the biggest, toughest permit that we have to get is the driveway permit. And many times I have to go all the way up to the top of the food chain in California, Arizona, Illinois, and I talk to Mike. He gives his director from that particular state a heads up that I'm going to be calling, and it's very apparent in talking to them, the head of the Illinois DOT, that Mike has a great reputation within that world, and you know, I think that kind of speaks volumes.
I'd recognize Secretary Ridley for comments.
No, and I'd like to talk to Mike. You helped me so much during my time. And any successes that I had because of the hard work that you did. And I'm sure the hard work that you put. But I just want to tell you how much we appreciate not only the work that you've done here, but also the work that you do in the community and the family, and just being the person you are. So, Mike, you'll always be a friend of everybody here, so that will go away. And just moving on to a different chapter, but the book's the same. And just want to tell you how much I love you, and wish you well, wish you well.
If you didn't know what teamwork was, you young award recipients, you're seeing what it ends up being and what it represents as adults. And the accomplishments of the Oklahoma Department of Transportation has always depended on it. Item number 25, the chair makes a motion that we adjourn to executive session, and we will, I guess you better present it, hadn't you? You know.
We've done this often enough.
Go ahead, Mr. Hill, make your presentation.
Agenda item 25 is a proposed executive session for appointment of a new director for the Department of Transportation and establishing his salary. Under the provisions of the Open Meeting Act, Title 25, Section 307, executive sessions of public bodies may only be held for the purposes specifically set forth in that section and in strict conformance with the executive session process. The pertinent part of Section 307 provides that an executive session may be held for the purpose of discussing employment, hiring, appointment, promotion, demotion, disciplining, or resignation of an individual, salaried public officer, or employee. The Attorney General has ruled in opinion number 26-40 that the word employment as used in that portion of Section 307 is inclusive of salary discussions. In order to go into executive session, the Commission must first, by majority vote, approve going into an executive session. During the executive session, the only matter which may be discussed is, as set forth on the public agenda, consideration of the appointment of a new director and establishing the new director's salary. Minutes of the discussion must be kept. These minutes are sealed and kept separately from the minutes of the regular meeting. During the executive session, no actions or votes can be taken. At the end of the executive session, the Commission must return to open session and vote to end the executive session. It is then appropriate to make a motion concerning the subject matter of the executive session, proceed to any other business, or make a motion to adjourn. If an executive session is the will of the Commission at this time, a motion for executive session is in order.
Chair makes a motion for executive session. Need a second?
Second.
Thank you for the second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion carries. We're now in executive session.
Mr. Chairman, at this point, a motion to end the executive session would be in order.
I'll make a motion to end the executive session.
Second.
No action was taken. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes to end the executive session. The chair would make a motion to appoint Secretary Tim Gatz as Director of the Oklahoma Department of Transportation effective April the 1st, 2019 at the salary that the current director is receiving.
Second.
We have a second?
Second.
Looks like you have some support. Any discussion? Motion and a second has been made. Do we have any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes, and we'd recognize Secretary for some comments.
May I step to the podium, Mr. Chairman?
Certainly.
Mr. Chairman, members of the Commission, it is a great honor for me to stand in front of you today and first to be Secretary Designate in Governor Stitt's cabinet, and also to be recommended for the directorship here at ODOT. I don't know that anybody ever aspires to be the director of an agency or really expects that job. It's something that, again, is daunting and has a lot of moving parts, and certainly to follow in the footsteps of somebody like Director Patterson is something that's very difficult to do. I'll tell you that Mike, among others, Secretary Ridley, Secretary McCaleb, that have gone before us have been a big part of the Department of Transportation and the successes that we've had. They've been mentors to me, and I've certainly tried to emulate and model the things that they've been able to accomplish and do. But I will tell you again, I could not be more honored to have the opportunity to continue in service to the state of Oklahoma and the transportation world, and to work with you as commissioners. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Well, you just said three names that support and point out what the legacy of serving at the department produces. McCaleb, Ridley, Patterson, and now you can add Gatz. Good luck. We look forward to working with you and making ODOT better and better, and thank the staff that's here today. Another momentous day for ODOT. Anything else?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right. We'll hear a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We have a motion?
Second.
And a second? Nobody's got anything else to say, we'll vote. We're adjourned.